One of the first lessons of buying art seems to be it matters who you are.
Buyers are not all the same. Certain buyers bring prestige to the artist's work, others don't. So gallerists are extremely concerned about placing works in the right collections or placing works in museums.
When Sadie Coles started in the late 80s, there were only a handful of contemporary galleries in London. Now, she's one of the capital's most influential gallerists.
There's a kind of hierarchy, isn't there? And I think the word is placement. In other words, that you don't have to look for customers. The customers have to sort of plead with you, and you have to decide on your hierarchy of who's going to be favoured.
Well, yes, there is that. It's very contentious because, of course, the collectors all think you're withholding in some way or just being plain mean.
When you sell to a museum, are you likely to sell at a different price to the price you would sell to a wealthy collector? You can say no comment.
Well, I think it's fairly obvious that you make a discount to a museum. Yeah.
You have your upper tier buyers, which are the museums. Underneath that collecting base, you have individuals that set up private foundations who have dedicated art spaces. Underneath that, you have mere mortals, people who are interested in buying art and living with art.
So it's the museums, with their relatively meagre budgets, that sit at the top of the art food chain. The Tate Acquisition Fund sends a team of curators round the fair who select items for the museum's collection. This year, their mission is to bolster its international element, something acutely underrepresented for far too long.
The Tate was never very good at looking internationally, probably to do with the fact that we had limited funds, the fact that we tended not to travel as much as other people. But that's changed in the last 20 years. We have more serious collectors now in London than was the case 10 or 15 years ago. Charles Saatchi was, on his own, hardly anyone else. Well, now we have collectors, as you'll see today. They're all here and they're all buying work. And that's a big change.
So what does Frieze add to that?
Inevitably, it has had an impact on the way in which we conceive our programme. I mean, we had always been doing the turbine hall shows in the autumn and always had a major autumn show, but it certainly concentrates the mind.
And does it help you that the market is so buoyant, or is it actually a bit of a problem for you?
Very little of the money sticks to us, and the market racing ahead doesn't help us at all. But on the other hand, I mean, we're buying this Pavel Althalner. It's a major piece. The discount is huge, in part because
they want you to have it.
Yeah, but it's also to do with the fact that the Tate has made a commitment to Althammer previously. So it's about building relationships.
Of course, if you're not a world-class museum, you have to work even harder at those relationships.
At the art fairs, you'll rarely witness a hard sell. But what you might witness is a hard buy. And that's when the collector starts telling the dealer why they should be allowed to buy the work, how they are on the board of trustees at this museum, how they have a collection that includes that, how they're good friends with so-and-so.
And even then, the price of a work of art can depend on who you are or what you look like.
There's two theories. Or you look rich and the prices go up, or you look poor and you think the prices go down. But if you look poor, they don't show you the good stuff. That's the thing.
Is that right?
So if you look like a schlepper, they say, you're not, they don't take care of you. But if you look rich, I think they boost the prices up. So it's difficult to understand how to dress.
Once you've proved yourself an acceptable buyer, the gallerists can begin their spiel.
What did you say your budget was?
I thought it was 5,000. Oh, I see, I could buy this.
You could buy this, the photographs, and
the artist.
you get bedwear. Have you seen his watch?
No.
These are expander paintings, and they're 2,000 pounds each. They're oil on canvas, and as you can see, they're a powerful optical visual image.
We tried to mix the idea of minimalism and at the same time the idea of punk rock.
These are what the Scooby-Doo paintings. Yeah, he loves the paintings in Scooby-Doo, where their eyes are cut out and they follow him around the room.
He did some projects for a men's home in Denmark, which is for people who, homeless people, that type of thing.
And you're not going to give me this for $5 grand, are you?
No. Okay, I can't.
It's a little out of your budget, but maybe we could work out a little discount for you. It's 6,500 pounds.
It is really great with, it's like she's farting stars and bubbles. This is $20,000.
Yeah.
It's like 10,000 pounds.
10,000 pounds, yeah. It's double.
Stretch a little bit, stretch a little bit.
I'm feeling in need of some advice. I catch up with New York art advisors, Ethan Wagner and his wife Thea Westreich. We meet at one of London's most cutting-edge young galleries, Herald Street.
Architecture and design are playing mightily in contemporary art, and Pablo is clearly investigating that architectural intervention. And this is a door that Pablo has created. And they're versions of doors with architectural interventions. This is 5,000 pounds. I don't think
the door is 5,000.
The door is 5,000 pounds.
And you get a drawing.
And you get a drawing.
So
and
there's your 5,000 pounds.
As if by magic, scenting a sale, the gallerists appear.
And I hear you're looking for a piece of art.
I am.
For 5,000.
You should get a
Doorway?
The doorway, yes, I have. That's on my list.
There are other doorways as well.
There are other doorways.
There's 10 versions of the doorway.
Oh, right.
And you would just have it reproduced by a builder or anyone that you could get, an art technician.
I suspect I already have enough doorways at home, but Thea and Ethan certainly know their onions when it comes to emerging artists. I don't want to miss out.
So can I put a reserve on
one of the doorways?
These?
Yeah, which one would you like?
Let's put a reserve instead. So I put a reserve on that.
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Obviously, I'm being inundated with sort of advice, but this was really...
No, we're the advisors of yours. We're the ones.
I need some fresh air, and I know the man to offer it. Dave Hickey, the cult American art critic, is in town. I know he can be trusted to offer a forthright take on the current art boom. Every gallerist is really well versed in telling the story behind the work.
That's true. The story doesn't mean shit, The art over there, 98% shit. That's about right. When I go to New York, I can usually depend on 98% shit. Everything is 98% shit. You know what I mean? And the good art world is an art world in which price and value attract. This is an art world in which price and value have no relationship whatsoever. That doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's a really completely different thing. And it has more to do with money than it does to do with art.
What does the value mean?
It's really easy. Quality of an object has to do with the quantity of one's response. So if I look at an work of art, all I'm saying is, how long can I look at it? Or if I'm a critic, how many words can I write about it? How much money can I get for it? And all of these are quantitative factors. And how long will it last? Will it last 100 years? Will it last 500 years? So when you're talking about value, that's what you're talking about. How important is it to the culture? The art world I came into was 6,000 marginally employed, heavily medicated people.
The artists.
The artists and dealers and everybody. That was all there was. And now you've got people all over the world. So you have artists who have an enormous clientele in the Ukraine. They're selling $2 million paintings in the Ukraine that I couldn't get into a thrift shop in Vegas, And so how do you compensate in the market for just the bad taste of Ukrainians?
In the current climate, the relationship between art and money is one that fixates the creators of art. American artist Richard Prince has responded to a commission from Frieze by shipping over his own souped-up Dodge Challenger for exhibition. It's a provocative comment on the trade show aspect of the art fair. I want to ask him about it, but he isn't available. In his place, he nominates Carly, the car's attendant.
The point is for it to be fun and funny and not take itself too seriously,
So you are an installation?
I think it's for the viewer to judge, really.
I think you're an installation.
Well, thank you. I kept getting asked, everyone asked me, are you a piece of art? And in the beginning I was like, no. And now I'm like, yeah.
The nature of value in art is something that's always intrigued Jake and Dinos Chapman.
A work of art is an absolute expression of high capitalism because it's just about pure value. It's about something which attains scarcity value. It attains some absolutely rarefied and fetishized value, which is absolutely concurrent with notions of capital. And you wouldn't have that art without capital.
It's always been the condition of being an artist. I don't think anything's changed. I think art has always been the cherry on top of capitalism. It is probably the only object ever made that has no real value but can attract enormous value.
I mean, one can ask the question, does it change the subversive potential of a work of art? Yes, it does, because the desire for a work of art has now changed. It's changed because it now expresses the congealed group hug of middle-class culture.
At Frieze this year, Jake and Dinos have decided to confront the theme of art and money head-on. The Queen's head, to be precise.
Last year at Frieze, you did people's portraits and you sold them for a modest price. So what are you doing this year?
This year, the only exchange of money is a temporary exchange of money. People can put their hands in their pockets, take out paper currency, and we're going to deface or improve the note and hand it back.
And are you charging people to do that?
Not at all. It's going to be a very interesting experiment in flow dynamics. You know, will people want them? I mean, maybe nobody will turn up.
But in a sense, it's going to be a demonstrable performance based upon our subordination to a thankless task.
And don't try this at home, folks. It's illegal.
I've been staying 2.5 hours here. Why not? We'll go to prison with Dinos and Jake. How about that? But we love the Queen. I'm sorry, we love the Queen. And we respect the Queen.
It brings the idea of whether people buy art because they like it or because they think it's valuable financially, whatever. The idea is that kind of maybe people will want to kind of get one of these notes even if they hate our work.
You can still see people being slightly kind of unsure as to whether, you know, what happens in that exchange, what happens to that note. You know, if you do, is it possible for you to do something on that note that will make it only worth £15?
It just makes this kind of this nasty little fur ball of confusing kind of problems.
Rob, that's mine.
On the neighbouring stand, New York artist Rob Pruitt has set himself up in competition with the Chapmans. He's responsible for this art flea market. You never know what you might find, or indeed what it might cost.
Papier-mâché hand sculpture with sanitising wipes. £4,000.
£20,000. Oh, I'm sorry, £11,000. It was.
That's beyond my budget.
He's a fantastic artist. Wonderful.
You know, there's this unwritten rule that artists really aren't supposed to go to fairs. We're supposed to be kept from the seamy underbelly of like the commerce part of it, but I think this is very exciting. It's very glamorous.
And into the lens, please, Alan, thank you. And your best side's slightly this way to capture the light. Ooze. Ooh.
No prizes for guessing who's inside the panda costume.
Is that good for you?
That's very nice.
Coming?
It's coming.
Who's next?
Okay.
Sam Taylor-Wood is a grown-up YBA. What does she make of the current, almost hallucinatory state of the market?
I'd say from the beginning it's been a surreal environment to exist in, but I think what you have to do is just always keep a little bit on the outside, and something like this is fine. It just brings you back down to earth and makes it more fun again. But the whole emphasis on British art at the moment and the art world and the explosion of prices and everything feels incredibly hallucinatory, yes.
Jake and Dinos were saying to me the other day that what they do here, they try in some way to sort of do something which slightly subverts it or makes people think twice about what it is.
Yeah, but do they really? That's what they say.
Someone has put a Jake Chapman £20 note on sale for £100.